How's it going, guys, and welcome to this best of 3 series between BlackIron Battles, who's going to be playing the Greenskins, and DAHVPAYS, who's going to be playing the Knights of Bretonnia. So let's jump right into this match, guys, and have some fun. So for BlackIron Battles, it looks like he does have a very heavy core of the Orc Biggins. So these guys do serve a bit of a dual purpose against Bretonnia. 50 armor, they also have a bonus versus large. I think they have 42 weapon strength, the bonus versus large of 8. That's what it is. So a little bit of a dual purpose. They're usually strong enough to deal with most Bretonnian infantry. Granted, Bretonnia isn't known for its infantry. And if they do get dragged into a fight versus like Grail Knights or, any of those other large mobile threats, they can, hold their own for the most part. On top of that, he does have Savage Orcs in the front line. So this is going to be the Shock Squad here. These guys coming in. Their charge bonus is a little bit higher. I think they get a charge bonus from their Frenzy, but a decent charge bonus for their cost. Definitely, up to the task of smiting Bretonnian infantry. So foot squares, I think, actually do lose to Savage Orcs 1-1, as well as like the rest of the Bretonnian infantry for the most part. So we'll see how they do against the Savage Orcs. Granted, these guys with 0 armor are very susceptible to getting run down in cav charges. And also, if there's like peasant bow fire, they can go down pretty quick. So definitely some pretty good countermeasures available to the Bretonnians. Over here, the 8-peak loonies. The Rustiers, he does also have the Morgub's Magi Marauders, and he's actually going to be using a Night Goblin Warboss on foot. I think he's on foot, which is it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Pretty excited to see how it pans out. He does also have the Tormentor Sword, which can, of course, snare targets and give negative melee attacks. So maybe he's going to be like baiting King Lewin on the ground, just running and scurrying in the open, and hoping that he can get him with the Tormentor Sword. He does have Foot of Gork, there we go, and Fist of Gork, Goblin Big Boss, and the Wild Hogs over here. So for DAHVPAYS, he's got a bunch of Grail Knights and a pretty combined arms Bretonnian force with peasants in the front. Looks like there's a little bit of a skirmish going on. The Grail Knights might be able to catch these Magi Marauders if BlackIron isn't. Oh no, he might not see it. Oh, they're going to come in and definitely take some heavy casualties right there. So hopefully he's able to pull those guys back before the big beating happens. On the far side, the Goblin Big Boss also getting surrounded by those Grail Knights. Looks like it was a bit of a Foot of Gork bait. Is he going to get it? Oh, it looks like he just barely clips those Grail Knights. Does some pretty good HP damage. So a very nice attempt there from BlackIron Battles, going hog wild, trying to get those guys down. But the fight's underway, so the Savage Orcs are definitely just going to melt these peasants. You can see these poor dudes are just going to get chopped to bits, just taking massive shock damage from those Savage Orcs. On the far side, though, a very good play from BlackIron. So he actually had a very rough start there initially, losing those guys, but he gets them with the Tormentor Sword. He's able to drag them down with some Biggins who do have the Wah. And then, of course, the Gobbo's getting a pretty nice little firing squad right there on those Ground Knights. So definitely a good play here by both players so far. In the meantime, King Lewin with DAHVPAYS is going to be flying overhead, looking for an opportunity to strike. Looks like he's going to go into the back of these Biggins, which is, it's not a bad idea. The Biggins are going to massacre. These peasants are going to rout off quick. They only have like 10 or 12 leadership, and they can probably turn on Lewin from that point, but Lewin's doing some pretty solid damage for sure, picking up those orcs and tossing them in the air. And you can see over here BlackIron's Wild Hog contingent. Looks like they're going to be pulling back from these spears. And the Grail Knights are really just turning it around, but BlackIron not going to go quietly into the night. He's going to pop the Fist of Gork, which will imbue magic damage, and then he's going to attack these Grail Knights, who are obviously strong, or they have a physical resist, so getting them the magic damage on those boars is definitely going to augment the output there. As far as the overarching battle goes, the bounce power is pretty even at this point. In the back, the Rustiers looks like they have been compromised a little bit by some of these Grail Knights, so definitely a little bit tricky for these poor Gobbos. It doesn't look like there's any Greenskins nearby. There actually is some Warlords boys, and you can see BlackIron Battles does grab them, start to run him back, and at least screen for him a little bit. He's also going to be pulling the Goblins through here, maybe trying to form a bit of a pocket. So again, battle's still pretty even. In the middle, King Louis is able to do a really good job and just rout off those guys. He does obviously cause fear and terror. So he terror outs the Hogs over here, the Orc Boy Biggins, but the regular Orc Biggins still fighting. 60 kills, but a lot of it is against peasants. So it looks like the Greenskin infantry is, undoubtedly going to win the fight in the front line. They must. Against the men-at-arms, although let's see if Dav has any chevrons. Doesn't look like he does. The Bretonnian Knights, though, coming in and just kind of supporting that front line. King Lewin slamming in the back is going to be really tough for that Greenskin leadership to handle. And I'm actually kind of curious how that Night Goblin, the Night Goblin Warboss is doing. Where'd he go? So he's running off here. It looks like he might have gotten charged into the Shadow Realm or something, but excuse me, he's going to be coming back in here and going to be charging on some of these Spearmen at Arms with shields. And that one rear charge puts him down to 14 leadership. They're already taking a ton of damage in the front line. But you can see King Lewin's just going to come in with a fat chub, full mahogany, and he's going to go right after this Night Goblin boss, who hopefully for his sake has a Tormentor Sword. You can see one attack from King Lewin is able to really affect his leadership, put him down to shaken. The Night Goblin Warboss does not have the best armor piercing values. He does have poison, pretty good melee attack with the Wah, but he's definitely going to just get pounded on by King Lewin right there. So over here on the far side, the Grail Knights are going to be, doing a bit of a rear charge action going on these Biggins, but the Biggins do have that anti-large. Bounce power is still even. I think now it's just coming into the favor. Oh man, it just keeps teetering back and forth to the middle, so a little bit too close to call. On the far side, you can see the Biggins are putting up a pretty good fight against these very tattered Grail Knights, and of course their anti-large bonus is probably going to allow them to drag these guys down pretty quick. So good night to these Grail Knights, fighting to literally the last model. They're 8 leadership, and they have 1 model, fighting a much more powerful force. They must have been inspired by these hordes of peasants coming their way. So The battle in the middle is still pretty darn even. The Warlords boys are getting Ere We Go. You can see King Lewin has pulled back up in the sky. The Night Goblin Warboss was able to hide amongst his bros, and I don't know if he has any high mass protection, though. That's going to be the problem. Because if it's just infantry protecting him, I mean, they can help a little bit, but you need some boars or some other threats like that or some missiles to be peppering into Lewin to really counter that play here. Otherwise, King Lewin's just going to just put this guy down, no problem. So it looks like he's going to be scurrying. I love that. He just scurries through these guys and is like hiding in their ranks because he's so small. You can see Lewin's going to be picking up one of those Savage Orcs and tossing them about. Bounce bar is still pretty even. Over here, you can see the Orc boards are going to be getting Fists of Gork, trying to finish off these Grail Knights. We have 8 here. We have 2 here. We also have the Orc Shaman, and I think there's a Goblin Big Boss there, but they probably don't have the stopping power to really finish off these Grail Knights. But the bounce power is still coming back towards the middle, so still pretty darn close over here. Savage Orcs in the back are going to be trying to fight off these Grail Knights, but they've actually gotten a couple chevrons since his fighting started. Definitely performing very well. But the Greenskins still have a ton of infantry, but this often happens with Greenskins is your Lord will get killed or taken out by, very powerhouse lords like King Lewin. And then you have leadership issues. You can get cycle charged and mass terror out and things like that. So if BlackIron can really keep his forces together and maybe like trap Lewin with like a Tormentor Sword or something like that, he might be okay. Here comes a very epic Bretonnian charge, just slamming into the side of those biggins. And they don't have charge defense. A little bit of armor will be helpful, but you can see the Knights can just usually ride right through them. And 210 kills on those guys. Very, very powerful stuff. But it looks like the Greenskins are pulling back. So the bounce power, I think, was in the favor of Bretonia a little bit there. The Greenskins are going to be pulling it back here in the middle, killing that Grail Reliquae. And now as long as BlackIron Battles can keep this Night Goblin Warboss in good shape, protect him, and kind of just push out the last of the Bretonian infantry pockets, get rid of the Cav, Lewin's going to have to land and fight. And having that Tormentor Sword as kind of your ace in the hole is going to be pretty powerful, I think. So let's see what's going on the far sides of the battlefield. So over here, we do have some Knights that are going to be retreating, but this is going to be the main force of Bretonia right here. He does have 18 foot squares here, 22 right here, and then also a pretty healthy group of Grail Knights with 20. But everyone's probably, no, they're actually, how are these peasants still active? Are these guys just like marathon peasants? These guys are active. They must have just been like routed and not fought for a while and just been like watching the battles. Probably what I would do if I was a peasant. But Night Goblin Warboss, you got to be really careful. If Lewin comes in and gets a good charge, it looks like BlackIron might be baiting him a little bit, kind of making him look like an enticing target. He does prematurely pop the Wa there. Definitely a bit of a tough situation, but at least the Bretonians are going to be engaging, so some of his troops may benefit from that, but it doesn't look like they're going to. But, it also may have deterred Lewin from coming in, who otherwise may have come in. But regardless, the Grail Knight's coming in. You can see he's going to be just going deep in there, going after that Night Goblin Warboss. And, man, if he has that Tormentor Sword, this is going to be really bad. So this is the moment of truth. If he can get Lewin with that Tormentor Sword, keep him from, pulling up in the air, that's going to be incredibly powerful. But it doesn't look like he does. It's probably still on cooldown. The Tormentor Sword only really regenerates when you're in combat. So if you're, like, scurrying around, the cooldown isn't going to be going down. So Louis here is just kind of rampaging through these greenskin forces, taking very little damage. His armor, I guess he's not terribly heavily armored, though. He only has 80 armor, so the Biggins and other guys might be able to do more damage than you think here. The peasants are going to be rushing in the foot squires, but it's really just kind of Lewin versus the world right now. It's a huge green tide, and despite all that, the bounce power is still even. Oh no, the Night Goblin Warboss has been forced out of the pocket. Thankfully, he did get knocked over, so that's going to buy him a little bit of time where he's laying on the ground and can't be getting attacked. The Fist of Gork is going to be getting popped as well, and what a close battle. So very well played to BlackIron as well as DAHVPAYS here. And the Night Goblin Warboss, it looks like the Sword of Corone is going to be going down right here on this guy, giving a negative 27 melee defense and negative 30 armor. But man, this is such a stressful situation for the Greenskins. But Lewin is getting surrounded. I mean, and there still is an Orc Shaman here who provides a little bit of leadership, so he could potentially, keep the boys fighting. But that Tormentor Sword would just be so clutch right now. Hopefully it's coming off cooldown for his sake. Otherwise, the Knights of Dav are rushing in the back here. The 5 Grail Knights, the Heroes of Bretonia. But they're probably going to get dragged down by the Green Tide. So, man, a very, very close battle here. But I think the Greenskins are going to eke this one out. I mean, what a wild one. The Lion Shield is going to be going down. And that animation always sucks when you have King Lewin. Because he, it just wastes so much time. And then he usually lands in, the middle of a blob. It's just, it's madness. But the Night Goblin Warboss here is really, really low. 100 HP right now. 118 HP, negative 24 leadership. And this is, if Lewin's able to pull back and get, one more big juicy charge, pop the Lord, he might be able to do some sort of a mass terror route. But all of these guys are confident for the most part, so Lewin, he definitely needs to push out there and get that guy. But it looks like he might just be he's just trudging through the green tide, just axes and just makeshift weapons, just beating Epiqua. Oh man, this is so ridiculous. But I think that's going to be it. I think Louis is probably going to go down here. He does pop the stand your ground. He's going to be pushing out through the guys. This is a pretty angry green blob, and I don't think there's anything else for Bretonia. Looks like there's some spearmen at arms over there. I think that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and look around. Yeah, that's it. So it's just Lewin versus the world. And once he loses the last of his troops over here, but it looks like he does have these spearmen at arms who are going to be rallying. He does have to land and fight, or else he's going to be taking leadership penalties. Granted, I think Creative Assembly could integrate that a little bit better because it's too easy to, it goes down too slowly. And people can often just like, you know, the cycle charge up in the air, pull back in, and they really don't get penalized at all. But anyway, it's just my opinion. King Lewin here, down to 9 leadership, up to 33, just kind of trudging back and forth from the point of wavering and breaking. The green tide is pretty relentless here, but it looks like Lewin is getting his paws on the Orc Shaman. He gets terrified, and as soon as that happened, you guys could see the bounce power actually had a minor shift back in the favor of the Bretonnians, but I don't know. I don't think Lewin's going to be up to the task. There's just too many boys here, too many green boys going on, and it's gonna be tough for the lad. He's at 13 leadership. He is wavering at this point, and it looks like he's probably going to get slammed with army losses at this point as the last of his troops do shatter off. So very well played to BlackIron, as well as DAHVPAYS. BlackIron actually has a YouTube channel. He's the commissioner of our Blood Bowl League, so make sure to go check him out. There will be a link in the comment section below. And yeah, we're actually going to be playing a Blood Bowl League, which is going to be really cool. I'll talk about it in some of the later videos as well and all that good stuff. But yeah, very well played to BlackIron Battles and DAHVPAYS. This was actually the second game in the series. The first one, oh, we'll show you later, but we didn't have the idea of doing like a best of 3 until after they played the first game, so it might seem a little bit out of sync in terms of the way I'm talking and everything, but regardless, I hope you guys enjoy. So thanks again, and we'll see you guys in the next game. How's it going, guys, and welcome to the showdown between BlackIron Battles, who's going to be playing the Beastmen led by Malagor the Dark Omen, and DAHVPAYS, who's going to be playing the Warriors of Chaos led by Kolek Suneater. So let's jump right into this match, guys, and have some fun. So for BlackIron Battles, it looks like his core infantry is going to be mostly made up of the Bestigor herds. Definitely a very solid pick. You can see they have a pretty nasty charge bonus as far as infantry standards go, but 35, and on top of that, good armor piercing values and pretty good offensive stats. They are a little bit susceptible to taking initial shock damage, but still a pretty solid choice. And to compensate for that, he does have a front line of fodder units, so Ungor spears and a bunch of things like that. It looks like some regular Ungors with shields, or Gore herds actually. Okay. On top of that, over here, a little bit of a battle going on already. You can see DAHVPAYS does have his Marauder Horsemen, who were actually caught by these Gorbals. So the Gorbals just were basically right in this forest area, right in front of where he deployed, and the Gorbal was able to pounce out with these Poison Hounds. So getting a really nice round with the Poison Hounds, going to be dragging down those Marauder Horsemen, and definitely getting a ton of value. And at this point, they probably can't even get away from the Hounds. And you can see he's going to try and run, but the Gorbals definitely got his number. So for Dav, he does have Kolek, a couple of groups of the Marauder Horsemen, getting a very good engagement on this side. So on the far side of the battlefield with the Gorbals, definitely was very good for BlackIron Battles, but it looks like over here, DAHVPAYS is going to get pretty uninterrupted fire on the Cygor with these Marauder Horsemen. They're not the throwing axe variant, so they're definitely going to be a little bit better against lightly armored targets. Over here, Big Daddy Kolek is going to be fighting a Gorbal, and the Bestigors are trading somewhat evenly, although it looks like Kolek did get a big Lord of the Storm here, so obviously they would normally be smashing Chaos Marauders. In the front line, it looks like the Bestigor herds are getting hit with a huge scythe right there. I think that was the Chaos Caster. Yeah, it must have been, because Malagor the Dark Omen. So a pretty good scythe going down right there, or pendulum, excuse me, on those Bestigor herds. And it looks like some of these Chaos troops are going to be rushing forward, having cleared out these Gore herds with the shields. In the meantime, you can see DAHVPAYS is going to be sweeping through with some Chaos Knights, really collapsing that center pocket very, very heavily. BlackIron Battles is going to be summoning a second Cygor. So this Cygor is definitely ready to go balls deep and throw some boulders. And despite the fact that Cygors did get nerfed in the Rise of the Tomb Kings DLC, they're still pretty strong. It looks like, yeah, right as I say that, like, he didn't even throw the boulder. He was just like oh, and the Gorbal goes flying to so many things. I'm like trying to talk about how the Beastmen are cool, and like the Gorbal just gets like knocked over by Marauder Horsemen, and the Cygor, that was a pretty good hit right in that big blob right there. So definitely some powerful stuff going on. But BlackIron over here does have Malagor the Dark Omen and the Gorbal, who are about to get jumped by these Chaos Marauders and some of these Halberds here. But as far as the regular Beastmen force goes, there's not a whole lot left. It looks like the main Beastmen front line really got ran over by that Pendulum, and it's looking pretty grim. Some of these Chaos Knights should be able to surround the Cygor, and the Cygor does have good AP. He has 400 weapon strength and 44 melee attack, but his melee defense is only 17, and he's also degenerating because he is a summoned unit. So right here, you can see that Malagor the Dark Omen is just kind of getting poked and prodded by these halberds, but he's not going quietly into this good night. He might be able to get another summon, but it looks like for now it's mostly elite units. Although that second Cygor summon you guys see there just brought the bounce of power back towards the middle. Potentially time for the comeback for the Beastmen. Some Ungor Raiders in the back are coming to re-engage here. 57 models and 59, so they could start shooting at some of these Marauders or lightly armored targets, or even at Kolek, but ever since he got that armor buff back in the day, he's been very, very, durable against non-armor piercing missiles. So the Cygor still stomping the yard here, but Big Daddy Kolek should have no problem laying a weapon on that guy. Up on the high ground, the Gorbals are able to screen out those Marauder Horsemen. They're not the throwing axe variant, so they should be able to deal with the Gorbal somewhat easily. And on the high ground, you can see the Bestigors getting a pretty good downhill charge right here on these Chaos Warriors, so they might be able to win this pocket, especially if they can get some support from some of these missiles or that Cygor. So I'm surprised Malagor the Dark Omen's still alive. Kolek's definitely in the neighborhood. It looks like he just bull rushes and knocks over that Cygor there. Kolek can definitely just go after Malagor and just try and goon him. Granted, he does have a bit of a guard squad here. He has these Chaos Poison Warhounds as well as his Gorbal, who's definitely pretty hyped, ready to party. So this Cygor is another one of the summoned Cygors. It looks like the first one has indeed fallen. I think there is a natural Cygor somewhere on the map, but I'm pretty sure he already went down. Another Lord of the Storm is going to be dropping right there. It looks like he does actually hit those Chaos Warriors, and the Bestigor herds are able to charge down the hill and route this pocket of Chaos Warriors. But now that the Cygors are gone, you can see the bounce power is starting to go in the favor of Chaos pretty heavily. Kolek's in very good shape. There is a Gorbel here, and I think there's some troops on the far side, some Gore herds with shields, but I don't know if there's really enough to deal with Kolek. I mean, Kolek could probably easily solo these two troops that are left, and Gorbels just get knocked around. You can also see that DAHVPAYS doing a pretty good job with the enfeebling foe, really going to make that matchup that much more one-sided. And he also has a Manticore coming in, so the Manticore and Kolek are just going to goon Malagor. Malagor is 34 melee defense isn't terrible, but he's obviously going to get smashed by the Mountain God here. So right there, the Gorbel just getting knocked around, and I hope that's something they eventually fix. I feel like the Gorbels just get, like, I've seen them like run into like Goblin Wolf Riders and things like that and just get rammed and like just shotgunned into orbit. So I don't know if that's like something that, I don't know, it couldn't have been designed that way. Gorbels are like these heavy metal, like, just look at this guy, but yeah, he's just having a bad old time right there. So over here, Malagor the Dark Omen is going to be dueling this Chaos Sorcerer with Shadows, definitely not having a good time. And it looks like that's going to be it. So DAHVPAYS is able to take this game with his Marauder Hordes. Even with a very rough start initially, BlackIron was able to get those Hounds and really jump on top of those Marauder Horsemen. And then, from there, he was able to, chase those guys off. But on the far side of the battlefield, Dav was able to get the other two groups, shut down the Cygor, come up and around the flank, pressure those Ungor Raiders in the back line. So definitely some very good Marauder Horseman play on that far side. Aside from that, I liked his army. It's some halberds just in case there were some large entity threats like Gorbels and things like that. He did also have the... I'm really surprised, though. The one thing that really was how badly these Bestigors got beat, because if you look at it on paper, like halberds and Marauders, they're not going to do a whole lot against Bestigors. But I think it was really up to his shadow magic. So the Chaos Sorcerer was able to use the Pendulum and some of that other witchcraft to really take those guys down pretty quickly. For BlackIron's army composition, I liked the Bestigors. I usually use them myself in the front line. I feel like they're a pretty solid pick. The one thing that I didn't like is the Gorbels. Like, Gorbels are just, I mean, I know you wanted to have something to, protect, but they just get knocked around so easily. Like, they just get sent flying, and like half the time they're chasing and not fighting. There's something like a little bit wrong with their programming. I don't even know what it would be, but I don't know. I think it's better to just get Marauders with throwing axes, or not Marauders, but Centaurs. So Centaurs with throwing axes, you could be surrounding Kolek, getting really good pressure. They're faster and stronger than Marauder Horsemen in melee. They could kite out the Chaos Knights. I definitely think a couple groups of those would have been really good, as well as maybe some Centaurs with great weapons. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So very well played to BlackIron Battles and DAHVPAYS. Make sure to go over to both their channels. So BlackIron Battles is actually the commissioner of our Blood Bowl League. So we're actually doing like a full-on like Super Bowl, regular season, playoffs, all that kind of good stuff. And BlackIron is actually the commissioner. He writes up weekly reports. He's going to be doing a ton of coverage on his channel. So make sure to go check him out at BlackIron Battles. And of course, you guys know DAHVPAYS from all of our best of fives and all those other shenanigans. Make sure to give him a mosey on over there and give him a look as well. So thanks again for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this Beastmen vs. Chaos Showdown, and have an excellent night, and take care. All right, guys, so we are here with the rubber match in this best of 3 series between BlackIron Battles, who is going to be playing the Dwarves in this game, and he's going to be facing off against DAHVPAYS, who's going to be playing the Skaven. And let's go ahead and see who his Lord is. It must be one of these little squeakers here. Looks like it is indeed going to be Queek Headtaker. So a little bit of armor-piercing shenanigans going to be going on, as well as a Warlock Engineer. So, man, he's ready to party. So let's go ahead and take a look at the armies. So for BlackIron Battles over here, it looks like he does have a couple groups of Dwarf Warriors, which honestly do pretty well against most Skaven frontline troops. That's one of the big advantages the Dwarves have, is that even their like lower tier troops can deal with Plague Monks. Granted, the Skaven do have options. They can use Wither, for example, and let's actually see what Lord Magic he has. So he does have a Plague Priest with Wither, so that's a really strong synergy. And like one of the reasons why Plague Monks, like, they have pretty good stats for their cost. What you guys see right now isn't an accurate reflection of their stats because they do have Frenzy. But for their costs, they're pretty solid with like anti-infantry. They do have physical resist, so you use them in conjunction with like an overcasted Wither, and they can really munch through like Dwarf Warriors and even more elite troops. So it looks like there's going to be some Dwarf Warriors in the front. For BlackIron's secondary line, it looks like he does have 2 groups of Quarrelers, 2 groups of Slayers, and then 2 Ironbreakers. So Ironbreakers are definitely very tough to crack, especially since in the Rise of the Tomb Kings DLC, the Dwarves did get some pretty substantial buffs to their mass. So even things like Doom Wheels and Chariots aren't going to be able to push through them quite as easily as they could before. I don't think he has any Rangers or anything. It's just going to be the 2 Quarrelers who are armored and shielded, so it should be helpful in missile exchanges. On top of that, Ungrim Iron Fist, he does have a Runesmith with the full rune kit, and a Thane with the Tormentor Sword, and the rune of, let's go see, I forget what that one's called, Stromny Redbeard, Leadership and Attack. On the far side, he does have some Secret Agent Miners. I'm not sure what those guys are going to do. Maybe they're going to get sneaky and go after this artillery, but yeah, all kinds of shenanigans going on. So For DAHVPAYS, front line of Skaven Slaves, he does have Clan Rats with shields, so going with a very fodder approach, going to be getting most of his value out of Doom Wheels and, you know, more high tier threats here. He does also have 2 Play Call Catapults, which do magic damage, so there's going to be some mitigation there. And it looks like the miners in the forest have been discovered, so they're probably going to come out and get some blasting charges, but they're undoubtedly just going to get run over horribly by these Doom Wheels, which is going to be pretty tough. In the meantime, the Play Claw Catapults are shooting in on those Iron Breakers, definitely a pretty good target there. You just want to, those things are going to be, you know, a nightmare to get rid of regardless. And BlackIron's definitely going to have to get a good Tormentor Sword to take out these Doom Wheels. Definitely a shame that these miners are going to just basically just going to get annihilated by these guys. But regardless, he does get some blasting charges, probably gets like 75 to 100 gold worth of value off these Skaven Slaves, perhaps. Over here on the far side, the Doom Wheel is able to jump on those miners as well. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to take this Doom Wheel a while to kill those miners. I mean, just like in a one-on-one situation over here, the miners might get some damage back on it. So if the battle goes for a little bit longer and the Doom Wheel's just kind of mucked up with this guy, it might not be the worst exchange. These miners do ride off, but they're probably going to rally here and then turn around and just smash on these Skaven Slaves. So ultimately, it wasn't that bad of an exchange there. In the meantime, DAHVPAYS is going to be falling back. Definitely a good idea. Just wanting to take advantage of his artillery, get as much time as he can, and it kind of overextends the DAHVPAYS forces. Granted, it's going to make him a little bit closer to those Play Claw Catapults. So a lot of people often ask me, why do I advance when I have artillery in the back line? Like, why do you do that? Why don't you just sit in the back? Well, sometimes I like the battle to like take place over here, so then the dwarves can't get to my artillery as easy with like Slayers and other things like that. So looks like over here, the Doom Wheel is going to be ramrodding in the back line. You can see that BlackIron Battles is going to be responding with Rune of Wrath and Ruin, which will slow it down by 48%. Allowing these Slayers to catch it up, and you can see just massive blasting charges coming in on those slaves there in the front. It's a little bit excessive, but it definitely looks very cool, and it looks like that artillery is still doing some pretty good work to those guys. He's definitely going to want to get those blasting charges shooting at the more elite troops, even the Clan Rats, and there you go, right on top of those Plague Monks. A very solid move there from BlackIron. DAHVPAYS, though, doing a really good job with the Doom Wheels, just riding around in the back line, although they have gotten caught up by the Slayers here. And I guess the Doom Wheel did push off those miners, which is probably worth it, because if he just left them alone, they would probably get this artillery. But pretty even at this point, hard to tell. The Play Call Catapults are just shooting at the Coilers, and some of these Iron Breakers are basically like missile units right now. Just bombarding that Skaven front line with those blasting charges. DAHVPAYS is coming in with that Doom Wheel. Oh, and it always feels so good. But you guys notice that? Like how it only got in there a little bit. But, oh, that artillery plus the Wither and just all that focus fire. But it looked like the Doom Wheel didn't penetrate as good as it used to. Granted, Iron Breakers have always been like very stalwart, and I'm pretty sure they have like better mass than other dwarves, but they're really holding in there. They do have that charge defense, but a good play by Dav working down these elite troops. Over here, though, Umgrim's taking a bit of damage. He has been withered, so Dav has probably been doing a very good job withering him and focusing with Queek, who's a very strong duelist in his own right, especially when supported by Lord Plagues. And what does he have? He has Vermintide and Wither. I think those are his only abilities. And does he have any abilities with the Lord Runecaster? It doesn't look like he does. Maybe just another armor-piercing elite. In the front, the dwarves are going to be fighting pretty hard against the Clan Rats. You can see the Coiler Overwatch is going to be coming in here and just kind of doming some of these rats. But unfortunately over here for BlackIron, definitely a tough situation having to use Slayers to fend off Clan Rats. Clan Rats are going to kill a ton of these Slayers. Like, they have 0 armor, their defensive stats are only 32 on melee defense. They will beat the Clan Rats, obviously, but this is a very atrocious trade in terms of just like pure cost. It's not good. But over here, he's using the Iron Breakers to, and look at that. And the thing that the Doom Wheel didn't even get all the way through. You can see the dwarves, I mean, getting rammed at that point, but they kind of held it still there for a second, which was pretty cool. Bounce power is pretty even. You can see the Slayer King is lurking nearby. He'll probably go over there on that Doom Wheel in just a moment. The Dwarf Warriors in the front are going to be holding back the Skaven Tides, but you can see those Secret Agent Slayers for BlackIron Battle are able to get over there and jump on those Play Call Catapults and push those guys off. And now they're going to be finishing off these Skaven Slaves. No problem. In the meantime, though, DAHVPAYS is responding in kind with some more Doom Wheel action, going to be running through these Coilers. Definitely doing some good damage. Should be able to, I don't know, but even like Coilers are so sturdy. They're sitting at 37 leadership. They do have 28 melee defense, which isn't bad. But the Doom Wheel should be able to polish them off. So, very close battle. Bounce Power is just deadlocked in the middle here. You can see some miners with blasting charges in the far distance. We're able to chase off some of those Skaven Slaves. We'll probably come back and go after this Play Call Catapult, but the Catapults, let's see what their value is. 58 here, and then this other one who's got Secret Agent Slayer and only got 9 kills, so that's a little bit rough there. So the Slayers, after their ops mission here, are going to be going after the Doom Wheel. They're not the Dragonback Slayers, so they won't be able to slow it. And you can see that DAHVPAYS obviously pretty aware of the Slayer situation, is going to be making sure to run. But aside from that, I mean, the Skaven do have some tools left to deal with the Dwarves. They have the Catapults, they have the Doom Wheels, but like a lot of their front line is really getting crumbled. And if Queek Headtaker goes down here, if he's not able to get that Verminous Valor and squeak away, pun. I actually didn't even intend that pun, but it ended up happening anyways. If he's not able to like squeak away here, it could be pretty tough. The Doom Wheel, you can see DAHVPAYS realizes that Queek is very compromised, so he uses the Doom Wheel to kind of muck these guys up and keep them pinned, and that's going to allow Queek to kind of run away. From there, the Skaven troops might be able to rally, form a secondary battle line, get a little bit more value out of their artillery, but they are running out of ammunition. Let's see where that other Doom Wheel is. So there's one here in the middle, 54 kills on that one. This other Doom Wheel here, who is also wavering in leadership, is up to 74 kills. A very, very nice Plague Claw catapult targeting by DAHVPAYS, just shooting right into this big pocket right here, nailing some of those Longbeards as well as those. I'm sure there's some Iron Breakers left. Let's go and see. So yeah, there's only 29 left. So the Slayers definitely want to stay here and finish off this Doom Wheel. If he can get this off the battlefield, I think he's pretty much going to seize the game. In the back, you can see that the Quarrelers are going to be shooting in, and obviously they don't have good AP values, but they can still provide a little bit of withering overwatch. Shooting at some of these Clan Rats, even with the shields, they obviously have horrid like missile resist. I mean, the shield mitigation is nice and all, but they're probably going to get buckled by that Quarreler fire. Dav is going to be using the Doom Wheel actually to go out there and finish it off. So just a wild game. The Skaven leadership is going to be rallying here, but the bounce power is just kind of creeping forward and forward towards the Dwarves. You know, in the DAHVPAYS still have a very scary leadership pocket. I mean, they have a Tormentor Sword. So Ungrim Iron Fist is going to go in with his Erect Anti-Large bonus and just take out this Doom Wheel, no problem. And you can see he's chopping it right there, and it can't even run. It's just going to probably get just beaten on. But you can see Queek coming in with the assassination attempt, Vermin is Valor, just all kinds of stuff going down. And the Doom Wheel explodes, rattling the entire screen. Just all kinds of shenanigans going on. And the Dwarf Gouger has been popped, though. So we could potentially get Ungrim, but and also the Trophy Head. So that's a little bit scary. Ungrim's at about 1,000 HP, but the Slayer King, you know, he doesn't know the word run. So he's going to probably stay and fight for the most part and just use his Thane and hopefully break Queek's leadership for the sake of the Dwarves. Dov's artillery in the back line has been pretty much compromised. So Dov got 88 kills on that one. I don't think we were able to still see what he got. Yeah, only 9 on the other one, like I said. But it looks like that's actually going to be it. So very well played to DAHVPAYS and BlackIron Battles. And of course, big thanks for them stepping up and playing. It's always fun, you know, getting these kind of best of series here on the channel. So like I said before, make sure to go check out BlackIron Battles. He's the commissioner of our Blood Bowl League. And I actually had my first game. I'm not sure when this will go up, but my first game in the league is going to be versus Italian Spartacus. So he's my first opponent. He's playing the Empire, and I'm playing Nurgle. So it's going to be pretty wild. But I'll be actually casting all of those games. So I think in total, what is it, like 12-week season in our official competitive Blood Bowl League. So I'll be trying to cast, if not stream, like all of those games, and I think that would definitely be pretty fun. So stay tuned for that, guys. But again, big thanks to BlackIron Battles as well as DAHVPAYS. So you guys can let the conspiracies flow. Did Dav pay this game? Did he not? We'll take a tally below. So big thanks to everyone for playing, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this best of 3 series. Have an excellent night, guys, and take care.